Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce CMAtics video session 123. So basically in today's video, we will actually discuss what are the advantages of recipe over data flow. Recipe is the new thing actually, and moreover going forward, I think there's a huge chances that we may not be using much of data flow at all. I mean, time has already come where we don't actually go for data flow in case some projects is where we actually go now on the recipe. So we will discuss actually, but yeah, there are a few things where data flow, but it's very less actually, just one or two occasions where data flow holds an advantage. But as you know, with each Salesforce release, they are upgrading something on the recipe side. So I think that part eventually won't be an issue. So we will discuss what is the advantage of recipe over data flow. So firstly, in my own notepad, let me just write the heading as okay. Now, what I will do is I will go to Analytics Studio, go to data manager, go to manage data flow, and maybe what I will do is I will just open one sample data flow and one sample recipe. So I think from data flow, I can open that session where, we created a lot of derived fields. So maybe I can open this session 16, and I think similarly on recipe in session 11, we had done, some creation of new derived fields. So I think I can open session 11 from this. Okay. Now, we will understand. Now, if you see this data flow, okay, the user interface and you see the recipe user interface, there is definitely this one is much better, right? So firstly is we can write something like first point is better graphical uh, user interface. Okay, better graphical user interface. That's the first thing for sure. Fine. Other than that, so this is the first thing which you can definitely mention. Other than this, what we can mention is that here, for example, when you are writing certain formulas, right? I mean, you have to be very much aware of the syntax. So basically, let's say whatever kind of, I mean, if substring. So on data flow side, you have to know what are the substrings, okay? But the thing is that on recipe section, as you already know, like whenever we write certain formulas, we don't need to remember anything. So if we go to this custom formula, so we already have all the formulas and functions built over here, okay? So basically, this is the formula builder which you already did on the recipe side. Fine. So that is the second point that we can leverage the use of formula builder instead of knowing the functions by ourselves. Okay. So yeah, it's been a very long time since I'm using data flow. So in that sense, I'm aware of all the functions which we have, okay, on the data flow and the SQL functions. But when you are using recipe, you don't have to remember any functions, okay? So directly, you can actually make use of all these functions which are available under the formula builder. Fine. So that's an that's the second point which I can mention. And other than that, the next thing is like here you get all that extra functions. Okay, so for example, you can get to see all the functions like trim substring at one go with a point and click. With point and click, you can make use of functions like trim substring. So for all these things, you have to separately write it on the data flow side, isn't it? You have to write certain functions, but with point and click, you can leverage certain functions. Okay, so the next part which we can write is point and click. We can leverage functions like trim, okay, substring, fine. Then bucket bucketing. Bucketing is an important concept where on data flow side you have to write a case when statement. For example, for open stage close stage we have already seen. Okay, then etc. like uppercase, fine, for uppercase, lowercase, etc. So that functions you can easily do it at one go on the recipe instead of relying on the various SQL functions and syntax on the data flow side. Fine. Now the next thing is, like, here on the recipe, what you can do is definitely you can actually transmit data to external connections, right? So you can transmit data to other external connections. So that is something which is not possible via data flow. So we can transmit data to external, sorry, no, 1 minute, not, yeah. Yeah, you can either transit to external system, or what you can do is you can also, just a moment. Yeah, you can transit to other external system, or you can transit to your internal system as well. Okay. So you can transmit data to external system or internal system. You just have to provide the proper connection name. Fine. So something which we can easily see over here. So once I click on this output connection, I can actually, of course, here it is Salesforce log because I'm putting from my ground, but if you have external, you can go for internal log as well. Okay. So for example, if I go for this one, uh, yeah, currently the operations, yeah, something has expired, which is fine, not an issue. But that part can be done, and I think we have walked through many examples as well, right? So if you remember, for example, let me open one of the sessions of recipe, maybe the session 5. I think there we have already done. Oh, session. Um, yeah. So as you can see, I have taken the account and I have put it to output external source. Okay, so this was the way. You have other options as well. So that's the thing. Anyways, currently because the API password I think got expired, that's what's showing up like this. But that's the main thing which we have walked through. So we can transmit data to external system or internal system through recipe. Fine. Now, another important point is, like, on the recipe, what happens is you get the preview section, right? So you get this preview section. So if you are adding any new fields, okay, if you are adding any new fields or anything, you get the chance to preview it. Okay, so you get the chance to preview it. So rather than directly checking on the dataset side, you can get the chance to preview your data, where it helps you to make a better decision on each and every step. If you are just viewing the information of how many columns got added, how the information, you can make better decision. What happens on the data flow side, you can only check the kind of data you have built once you run the recipe, where it consumes the runtime, and then only you can see the final output in your data set. But before doing the final output, you can just preview your data, which will help you to make better decisions, okay, in the during the build up time. So basically we can write something like, we can utilize the preview sections to ensure we refine the data in each step while creating new columns, okay. And ensuring better decisions being made during the data prep. So during the data prep, you can make better decisions when you have that preview sections. Okay, so that is something which is there. I guess these are more or less. And one more thing is, here, for example, you have to rely on a lot of nodes. For example, you have this SFDC digest, edge mart. Okay, then compute expression, compute relative. Then you have something different node which is slice data set, right? Then you have the flattened node. So you don't have to rely on a lot of nodes. Some nodes are clubbed together, okay? So with recipe, functions like drop or keep columns. Okay, functions like drop or keep columns. Okay, then flatten node, fine, flatten functionality. Then computation across rows can be done through transform node. So basically, we don't have to rely on a lot of nodes. That's the main point which I wanted to convey. Okay, that is something in recipe you can easily do it. Fine. So that's the thing. And other than that, you always have that options to clean up data. Okay, you can always clean up the data. You can preview this which I have already written. And the next part is like how we can deal with the dates. For example, the calculation of dates, right? So in this particular thing, if you remember, we have written one functions where we were easily calculating the difference in date. Let me just check that. Yeah, for example, you have this, return the number of days. Okay, so I wanted to check what is the number of days. I can easily do that. So that is something which can be easily done. But when it comes to the data flow, you have to separately rely on a lot of syntax, on a lot of functions, and every method. For example, the way I have to calculate, I have to be very careful on how I do the calculation when it comes to the difference of dates. So we can write like dealing with dates, dealing with dates and its related functions is easier. Okay, so that is one more part which you can mention, which is definitely an advantage. Other than that, we can also analyze the data quality. So for example, when you go to this preview sections, so or let me go to that first section itself, right? So under this, when you have this name, okay, so basically you can utilize these functions which we have, right? Like what is it? It is a text field, okay? It is a text field. And what are the valid values which are there? How many missing values are there? Of course, it is done on a preview section on few number, but at least you can still get it. Like out of that 717 sample loss, how many valid values are there? How many missing values are there? So a better quality check, a data quality check can be done via recipe through this particular functions of through this function of profile and attributes. Okay, so that's the thing. Again, over here, you can actually do it under the column section. Okay, so better data quality check can be done by from the profile and attribute section. Okay, okay, so that's the thing. So yeah, more or less, I would say these are the main advantages. There can be many as well, not an issue, but definitely these are some of the basic advantages which you have for recipe over data flow. One more aspect is you can directly pull in the data. Maybe in one of the videos I will show you how you can directly pull in the data. I can just write it over here that directly we can pull data real time. Okay, instead of relying on data sync. Fine. So yeah, these are the some of the advantages of better graphical user interface. We can leverage the use of formula builder, which I have shown you. Through point and click, we can leverage functions like trim, substring, bucketing, uppercase. We can transmit data to external system or internal system. We can utilize the preview section to ensure that we refine the data. Functions like drop pins, all we have very few nodes on recipe, and you can make utilize of function. We can deal with this on an easier manner, and we can provide a better data quality check, and we can directly pull in the real time, which I can show in one of the sections. So yeah, these are some of the advantage, and Yeah, I hope you understood this one. So yeah, let's meet very soon in our next video. Thank you.